Well, hello, long time no see, for reasons which I'm sure you don't need me to explain. So I've just driven our 41-year-old camper van from Italy to Belgium, and I've arrived and I'm going to be seeing the boat for the first time in 2.5 years. So a little bit mixed emotions here. I'm excited to see the boat. There's a little bit of trepidation, but I was very fortunate. I mean, it's actually kind of like my military background. For example, never get separated from your gear. If you've got a bag, don't give it to someone else, don't let it go on another vehicle, make sure it stays with you, because I know one guy whose bag disappeared and he ended up, where was it, in the Middle East, asking people to lend him some boxer shorts because his bag went missing. So that's one of the examples. But another thing is, with the boat, I only expected to go away for a few weeks. I had no idea that this farce was going to start, and it was going to be 2.5 years until I got back to the boat. But fortunately, I took all the sails off and tidied the boat away really well, and that was very fortunate, because while I was away there was 95 knots during a storm, and there was some damage to boats, but I believe ours is okay, but we're about to find out, and I'm just about to see her right now with you. So here she is. Oh my goodness me, oh my goodness me, oh, how I've missed you. It's like seeing a, I don't know. Wow. Oh my goodness me. Very strange to be here. Very strange to, oh my god, it's like, oh, I don't know. It feels like I've a different chapter in my life, you know. But here we are. Right, I'm gonna climb up the back and see what she looks like. Everything looks okay for now. So yeah, the not particularly aesthetically pleasing, but very sturdy solar arch that I made has withstood 95 knots with no problems. That's good. Right then, let me get on board. So this is how she looks. Very, very dirty. Not quite as bad as she was when we bought her, but yeah, she definitely needs some TLC. Wow. So one of the things that I did was tie up the halyards like that. A, to stop them from banging about and annoying people, and B, because it helps to prevent chafing. You know, if you imagine 2 years of, or 2.5 years of lines rubbing against things, it quite easily cut through them. So that appears to have worked. Touch wood. Well, yeah, here we are. Here she is. She needs some TLC, and I'll be happy to give her some. Okay, so you're going to come inside with me now. I haven't seen in here yet, but as prior warning, it will look as though she's been raided, but that was me, because I always leave all the cupboard doors open and doors, and I try and leave plenty of ventilation. It will look like a mess as well, because when I was here I was rushing to catch a train, so I was in a mad rush to do that, and so it will look like a complete tip. Here we go. Okay. Hey, this is the smell is fine. No weird smells. There's no damp. There's no evidence of any water ingress. It's a mess. It is a mess. Oh, it'll look better than this. Give me half an hour and I'll make it look a lot tidier. But there's no nasty surprises as yet, so that's very good. This is our little folding bike. Where was it I got that? UK? I don't remember. Argos, I think. It's super cheap. Very good. Oh, we've got some fun waiting for me here, tidying this lot up. Oh, I'm very happy though. No evidence of leaks, as far as I'm aware. Happy chappy. I can't really describe how nice it feels to be here again. Ah, I have missed this boat very, very, very much. Here we are, back together, and hopefully there will be 3 of us here soon. Fingers crossed. But yeah, better get to work, eh? And the beauty of having a decent solar array is that despite not being here for 2.5 years, and despite nobody coming to the boat and there being no shore power, the batteries are 100% charged. A whole series of things happened in a certain way to enable me to find the boat here in a nice, safe and sound condition. So I'm very grateful and feeling very blessed that it all worked out like that. Another nice thing is the bilges are completely bone dry. That's what you'd expect, I suppose, but it's not necessarily guaranteed. If you've got any leaks from rainwater somewhere, then that could have a puddle in there, but no, it's all dry, so again, grateful. Okay, I've tidied out the forward head a little bit, and I'm going to be fitting a pull-out shower here rather than this fixed tap. I've done that before elsewhere on the boat in the galley, and I'm going to do it here now. Well, it gets to the stage where you enjoy the fruits of your work on boats. I'm just fitting this here. I had to enlarge the hole ever so slightly with a rasper, so it's kind of dusty, and I like to clean it up straight away, so I'm going to do that with a hoover, and that's very easy now. So we're not plugged into shore power at the moment, but we don't need to be. I'll just knock this on and then flick the switch, and I've now got 220 volts to the plug sockets spread out around the boat. So that's a very simple, quite a cheap inverter really. It was about $100-ish. It's not a pure sine wave or anything like that, but it works for everything that I need it for. So we don't need to worry about shore power anymore. And the sun gives us all the energy that we need. So it just makes life easy. You're not running around looking for power outlets and running cables and all the rest of it. So yeah, as you kind of work through your to-do list, things get a little bit easier. Come to think of it, that might have been £160 for that inverter, so it's more like $200. But I'm going from memory and it was years ago. But yeah, in my experience, you don't. Some people say you've got to buy pure sine wave inverters. Well, in my experience, you don't, because this one, that's 1100 watt shop vac. That runs fine. Electronics, laptops, basically anything. Our little washing machine, everything we want it to power, everything runs fine from that. So you don't necessarily have to go super expensive. You can if you want to, but if you don't want to, then you don't have to. In my experience, anyway. Well, I've been here for a couple of days now. I've not been doing filming for you because I've not been doing anything interesting enough, really. I've been fitting those pull-out showers, running cables, fitting 12-volt outlets, things like that. So nothing really very exciting. However, now the credit to this doesn't go to me. There's a lady a couple of boats down who was very helpful and suggested a product for cleaning the teak, which is a complete mess. And as a result of that, I didn't actually use the product that she recommended, but having a look at it, it was a certain kind of acid. And I thought, well, let me try something that I've got on board and see what happens. So let me show you the result, and then I'll show you how I did it. It was really easy. The teak sections were looking very grimy, a little bit mouldy, and when they're wet, they were very slippy. So as you can see, you can get them looking brand new, and you won't believe how quick, simple and cheap this is. This is my not-so-secret weapon, which is distilled white vinegar, and I'm just going to pour a load of that on the teak and let it sit and do its magic for 5 minutes or so. Okay, that's been on there a few minutes now. There are 2 different ways of doing this. You can use a hard brush or a soft brush. If you've got ½ an inch of teak to work with and you're not too worried about losing some of the thickness of it, then you could use a hard brush. If you've not got a lot of teak to work with, or you're planning on keeping your teak for the next 10 years and you don't want to take too much of it off, then you can use a soft brush. In my case, I'm just going to go with a hard brush here because this has got quite a bit of thickness to it, and I just want to get this done ASAP. So I've just been getting a brush and scrubbing in the same direction as the grain of the wood.
There once was a ship that put to sea, and the name of the ship was
I'll just rinse that off with some water now. As you can see, that's a big improvement already on the first pass, and now I'm just going to do the same again to get that nice and clean. So that first pass cuts through the vast majority of the moss and gets you down to the wood with the vinegar, and now the second pass you really get into any remaining bits that haven't been got yet, and it helps you get them nice and clean. I'm going to rinse that off with plenty of water to get rid of any remaining acidity. There we go, that's it done. So when that dries out, it will look just like this, and it's ready for whatever you like to do with your teak. That could be salt water, you know, seawater, or oil, or some people use varnish with thinned out with thinners to put a little bit of a coating on there. It's kind of up to you really. There are a million different ways of treating your teak, but it's certainly a lot better now than it was before. This is how it looks after drying out. So for not much work and very little expense, you can have brand new looking teak. This works really well on the green areas of the boat as well. Your boat probably doesn't have any green areas, but if it does, then vinegar works wonders in getting rid of that too. So I'm using it to clean other areas on the boat as well. I find it really helpful. This is a very cheap thing to use. A bottle of this is 49 cents euro, which is what, about 40p GBP, or about 60 cents US dollars. It's biodegradable. it's not harmful to you, you know, your skin. So I really like this, so I thought I'd share it with you.
And here, in its natural splendour, we have a colony of mossy tixy mossiness, which has evolved over millions of years to colonise boats which have been abandoned in the open air. Unfortunately, due to climate change, the future of mossy Cetus mossiness is under great threat. So we must at once install a totalitarian government so that you give up all your rights, so that we can protect you from the climate change that we're causing with our geoengineering.
Well, I've treated myself to a trip to the DIY store today, Brico something or other, and I've got some goodies. So, first of all, I found these, which they're actually for decking, and it's, what's it called? Bankirai, which I've never heard of before. I've just googled it. It's a hardwood. I knew it was a hardwood by the feel of it, but I'd never heard of this actual specific type of wood before. So it's called Ballo as well, is another name for it, and basically it's a really hard wood, very strong and hard wearing, and it doesn't look a million miles off teak. So I saw this and I thought, that's almost ready to use like that, because I can just put some caulking in there, CT1 or something, in between the gaps, and it'll look as though it's a beautifully manufactured piece of teak, and I need it for this. We've got one of these on each side, which, yeah, they're not so, they've seen better days, and this is kind of a stepping zone when you're in the cockpit and you go forward. You tend to put your foot there, so it is quite dangerous to not have them solid. So I aim to make 2 new of these out of this, and it's just pure luck. Look, the sizing of it and everything. It should work out great, I hope. It'll probably be hard work to cut that, but there we are. All the things in life that are worth doing take some effort, don't they? I've got one of these as well. This is just a bag, you know, like a building merchant bag type thing, but it's got a 500 kilogram break-in strain, and that's handy. They're handy to keep in your lockers, you know, like you can put a kedge anchor in there and your chain and road and all the rest of it, and then when you need it you can just grab it and pull it out all together, and it kind of makes it quite handy. Also, you know, you never know, like for example, if I ever need to do anything strange with the boat, you know, we've like gone aground and I need to tilt us over, then I can hang that off a halyard and, you know, do crazy things like that to, you know, who knows, it's just handy to have a bud, and it was cheap. I've got some threaded rod as well, M10. I'm going to be doing something with this, something quite, well, very unique. I've never seen anyone else do it. It's to do with a windlass that isn't a windlass, but it's going to be like a windlass. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. So yeah, that's pretty much. Oh no, the other thing which is really good is this. This was a reel. They were selling cables there, and this cable reel was empty because they'd finished the cable. So I went and asked very nicely, and they gave it to me, which is very kind of them. And that means I can do something like this with it. I'll do something with it, you know, to make it look a bit prettier. And then I've got some webbing for our stern anchor, and I'll stick that on there and then put a little handle on it or something, and that will replace the 200 whatever pound commercial versions of that. So yeah, happy. Right, I'm going to crack on with some work now. See you soon. Well, the sun is shining now, and I've been making the most of that. I've been doing a job for quite a while, and it's one of those jobs where you spend ages doing it and then it kind of looks worse than before you started, you know, kind of. So this is our keel. This was a real rush job for me when we bought the boat. We were in a rush to get in the water and get out of the kind of place where she was being stored. So I rushed and did, you know, I kind of didn't take it down to bare metal, and I epoxied it in sub-zero temperatures. I had to tape a tarpaulin around the keel to make a little kind of tent, and then I had a hoover running in there to try and keep it above 5 degrees, which was the minimum for the epoxy. So it didn't really work particularly well. I mean, this is always the bane of an iron keel, you know, you're always going to be chasing your tail to a certain extent with them. But so now I've just spent a number of hours grinding. Well, first of all, I used a hammer just to knock off the paint. There's kind of a trick to doing it with the angle, you know. You don't want to go straight onto it. You want to try and get it at an angle, and then you can do it that way, or you can do it that way. I did put a tarp down, by the way, to catch the paint, but I'm just showing you this for 2 seconds. So you just knock it off like that. The reason I've done that, it is time consuming and kind of quite boring, as you can imagine, but doing that gets rid of the paint, and then you're not grinding paint. And then with my angle grinder, I've used 40 grit flapper disc. And if you were to do that onto paint without knocking it off first, then your 40 grit flapper disc becomes a 3 grit flapper disc full of paint within 5 minutes. So that's why it's better to do it first. And then afterwards, I've just used a grinder on there for hours and hours and hours to get it back to shiny metal. And now I'm going to convert the rust, and then it'll be ready for epoxy. Correction to what I said before. Well, if you grind onto paint like that, it doesn't turn it into a 3 grit, because that would be like gravel. It turns it into like a 5,000 grit. So it doesn't do anything. You go, it creates heat, and it doesn't really remove anything. So that's why I think it's a good idea to remove the paint like this first. It's a bit of a pain of a job, but in the long run, I think it saves you time. I'm no expert at this. It's only my opinion based on the experience that I've had here. So take from that what you will. Well, I'm just on my way to go and have another shower, because as you can see, I look like I've been down a coal mine and been electrocuted at the same time with my hair. But I just saw something lovely, so I've gone back and got the camera for you. There are 3 seals down there, lounging around together, looking very peaceful. I don't want to get too close because I don't want to scare them, but I'll try and get a little bit closer for you. Very pretty creatures, aren't they? They're a little bit like dogs. There was one offshore. I was working on a rig in the North Sea, and we had our ROV, our robot, underwater, parked in its garage, and we had an inquisitive seal. I don't remember the depth, it was pretty deep, but this seal popped up on screen and started to kind of swim around and look at the ROV. Very inquisitive, and they seem to be really quite intelligent creatures. I don't normally come for showers in the evening, I normally go in the morning, but as I'm going now and there will be nobody in there, might as well give you a quick look around. Not too long, just a quick one. So yeah, it's a very big marina, but they've got facilities for loads and loads of people, so that you never have to wait anywhere for any of the showers or anything like that. Oh, there's my baseball cap. I left it there this morning. Silly Billy. Anyway, yeah, really happy with this marina. It's been really good. Well, they say necessity is the mother of invention. I think that might be the case here as well. I have a ferry booked now, so I've only got today and tomorrow to work, and then I've got to go. So I'm in a rush now to get this done. I've just discovered a better way of doing this, so I thought I'd show you, because no doubt other people will have to do this job, and this appears to be much quicker and easier, so I'll show you how I'm doing it now. I'm using a multi-cutter, which is a very handy tool to have on a boat, and I've been using it like this. If you can see what I was doing there, I'm basically using this little corner here as a kind of percussion tool to get under the paint and hammer it off for me. So I think this is quite an effective way of moving the paint, and it's quite safe as well because you know, this is a lot less dangerous than an angle grinder. I will be using a flapper disc on an angle grinder afterwards, but yeah, this is quite a good way of doing it. Safe and effective. Two words which will never be the same again. Okay, it's not the most pleasant job in the world, this, but in life, when you put hard work and effort into something and you go through like difficult times, then the rewards at the end of that are kind of multiplied, you know? So yeah, could have found somebody to sandblast this for me. Perhaps should have, but it's okay because I've put the effort in here, and when we're sitting in the cockpit drinking a beer, I'll think back to this and I'll kind of, you know, I'll appreciate and feel that I've deserved the beer. So there we go. Right, acid wash time, and then it'll be crisp wash time as well. Well, a little bit of an interlude there, unexpected. I don't know if you've noticed, but I tend to be fairly careful when I'm doing jobs, you know. Yesterday when I was doing my grinding, I had a mask on and earplugs, and I usually wear safety specs when I'm doing stuff like that. I didn't yesterday because I'm running out of contact lenses, so I was wearing these normal glasses, so I didn't have safety specs on. And after I finished the job, I went and kind of found some gritty stuff in my eyes. So I had a shower, and then I tried ages trying to rinse them out, and then in the end there were 8 pieces of metal in this eye, like 7 on the cornea and 1 on the white of my eye, and I couldn't get them out. I tried several things, you know, like rinsing and squirting and bath and cup and all the rest of it. I was tempted to just go asleep and leave it, but I thought, you can't do that, it's your sight, you know, you can't mess with that. So I went to the hospital, and they very kindly saw me and then said, come back tomorrow and we'll get you seen to. So I've just been there now. So I didn't get a great deal of sleep, but very glad to have been seen today. They were really kind and helpful and great, you know, doctor, very experienced. She picked all the bits out of my eyes with a hypodermic needle. So yeah, that was interesting. I had 1 in that eye, and I think she got 6 or 7 out in the air, so maybe 1 or 2 came out on their own. But yeah, a couple of them bits have started to go rusty already just since yesterday. So there you go. Learn from my mistakes. Try and always wear safety specs when you're doing stuff like that, because it just takes, you know, it was windy as well, so the wind was blowing the dust around and back into my face and around, you know, around behind the glasses and stuff. So I don't even know if safety specs would have stopped it, really, you know. But I would have been more likely not to get the stuff in my eyes with safety specs. So there you go. So yeah, I've only got a few hours left now. So I've got a ferry very early tomorrow morning, and I've got to try and decide now which are the last essential things for me to do before I leave. Oh dearie me, oh dearie me. Time flies when you're having fun. Look at that, there's a little bunny rabbit. It looks injured, actually. Have a drink. It's water. Have a drink. Hey, it's water. Go on. It's not looking good, is it? Poor little thing. Go on, you silly sausage, drink some water. Drink some water, come on. There, down there. Drink. Drink. There you go. It's nice, isn't it? It's just what the doctor ordered. Well, it had a little drink and looks a little bit more lively now, so maybe it'll be alright. This video is sponsored by me. If you're interested in buying a boat or changing your boat to a different boat, then I've got a really interesting PDF for you. It's called How to Buy a Boat at the Best Price Possible, and it's free. So click on the link in the description and I'll take you through to the PDF and fill your boots. Really, really useful and potentially very lucrative information there for you, for free. Bye bye boat. It won't be 2.5 years this time, I promise.